Welcome to the Government Innovation Panel. We will begin shortly. Kevin Patel is a UTD alumnus who was active in student government. Since the pandemic, he has won multiple National Challenge Awards from Veterans Health Affairs Innovation Ecosystem and Challenge America for solutions to combat COVID-19. He has since returned and partnered with UTD's Venture Development Center, which specializes in product commercialization, to scale these solutions for veterans at a level that can satisfy the needs of the largest healthcare system in the nation. Over the last year, he has had the privilege of learning from, working for, under, above, next to, and alongside each of the panelists, and carries a deep respect for each one. Please welcome Kevin Patel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending today's VA session. We have a really special group of people. I met them all last year, kind of getting into this entrepreneurship role myself over here at the VDC. And I would like to, two of them, Allison and Danielle, are from the VA, and Dallas is from Challenge America. Guys, could you come on up? Hey, how's it going? Wow, we all made it. This StreamYard's pretty cool. How do y'all like it? How are y'all doing today?
Good. It's a great platform.
Yeah.
Great.
So, Allison, I'd like to start with you. You're the Director of Operations for VHA, IE. Do you think you can tell everyone a little bit about your role and also the larger missions that the VA has? The VA honestly does so many things. I don't believe everyone even knows, or most people.
That's probably very true. Excuse me, I'm just getting over kind of a cold, so I might sound a bit froggy. And I would love to take credit for being the Director of Operations for the VHA Innovation Ecosystem, but I am merely a smaller cog than that. But I am the Director of Operations for the VHA Veterans Health Administration Innovators Network, which is a component, a portfolio within the innovation ecosystem. In VA, as you know, we like acronyms and things like that, so we'll probably just call it INET and VHA IE for Innovation Ecosystem. And as Kevin mentioned, the VA's mission, to serve, he was born in the battle, and his family, sons and daughters, is a huge organization. VA is the largest integrated healthcare system within the United States. We serve around 9 million veterans who are enrolled in our systems. We have over about 1,400, I think, clinics and VA hospitals, might be 12 to 1,400, I can't remember, which if you count all of the clinics throughout the country, which are a lot, roughly 2/3 of all healthcare professionals, doctors in particular, are trained at a VA sometime in their residency and their education. So we are truly a behemoth in the healthcare world. We also have the National Cemeteries Administration and the Benefits Administration that kind of cover the other two ends. We have over 300,000 healthcare professionals, though, within VHA itself, the Veterans Health Administration. So we are a beast with a huge mission, tackling everything from homelessness to veteran suicide. And the innovation ecosystem is a very small, in the grand scheme of things, component of that, but small but mighty. And the Innovators Network in particular, which is where I reside primarily, is a boots on the ground, frontline innovation empowerment program is how I usually think of it. We exist to supply frontline employees that are facing challenges every day on their jobs, particularly think of all the challenges with COVID, but really all the time, right? There's always challenges and problems that need to be solved, and sometimes the solution isn't there. And they are the best people to create these solutions, we believe. And they receive training, support, resources, a huge network of folks, and that's really what we do with the Innovators Network. We empower them to design and solve the problems, design solutions for and solve the problems they face every day. So that is the quickest big to small introduction I can think of.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that was a whole theme today, and I wanted to really shine some light on the VA, because I've noticed, I think the VA does the frontline or end user better than anyone that I've seen. You talk about small, but that the government's idea of small is still like huge. Like, as it's like, oh, you only got 1,500 employees and make $20 million. Okay, small. Or for instance, you're small and mighty, INET. How many sites do you have? Like, how many current projects do you have? Because you mainly run off this Spark Seed Spread program, which I've always felt is kind of equivalent to the DoD's SBIR, like phase 1, 2, and 3, like your small, medium, and large bets, right? And except it's more internal. But just, what is your idea of small? Tell me, how many projects do you have?
So we do primarily, so we have two kind of avenues, one being all internally facing, right? So we have 2 innovation competitions to serve all VHA employees, one of them called Go Fish, which is then available to those 300,000 employees to submit a challenge, a problem that they want to solve through an accelerated life cycle of 1 year. And then Spark Seed Spread is an opportunity for just Innovators Network sites, which out of the 170 medical centers, only 36 are Innovators Network sites. And then we have the Greenhouse Initiative, which is an Innovators Network public sector opportunity for collaboration, which combines our theories and teaching of human-centered design and innovation as a process, learning innovation by doing, with the external private sector who have great solutions, and we can co-design and co-develop things together. So we kind of have a number of opportunities internally and externally. So throughout the Innovators Network's history, it's only 6 years old. We have had over this year, if you count this year, about 700 employees that have gone through our accelerator program through Spark Seed Spread. We have at the highest had 42 sites, I believe, was our total site count. And we have had solutions scale nationally and have impacted millions of veterans.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't think people get enough like actual concrete examples. What's one of your favorite projects right now you just find amazing and just makes you smile when you think about how awesome it is and how it's going to change lives? And maybe it has a quirky story, like how it came to light. It wasn't maybe perfectly obvious at first.
Sure. I have a lot of those, and I actually get to know these employees really, really well throughout their year, and they are astounding human beings, particularly in the past year when they've been tackling a global pandemic at the medical centers. And they find extra time. This is something in addition to their normal duties. They find extra time to do this project work, this innovative design thinking kind of project, and it's really incredible. So we always think about project and people, but project and people wise too. One of my favorites is a project called Drop Ease. And it was in collaboration with a a nonprofit also called Quality of Life Plus. We love collaboration, as you will see here with Danielle and Dallas. We love our collaborative efforts. And Drop Ease is a project, an initiative, innovation from the Cincinnati VA by a nurse who is also a veteran. She's an Army veteran, and she is a nurse at the eye clinic in Cincinnati, and just basically observed veterans asking for refills for their prescriptions or not asking for refills when they should have been for eye drops. And simply, again, that human connection, that going the extra effort of her stopping and asking, why haven't you asked for your prescription? Or why are you asking so often for a prescription that should only be filled, every month or something like that? A lot of clinicians would have just done the refills, right? So not Terry, her name's Terry Olinger. And Terry stopped and asked these veterans what's going on. And she learned that many of them had pretty severe dexterity issues with their hands, and they literally could not squeeze the eye drop bottle. So they just couldn't do it, and so they weren't getting the medicine. Their conditions were also worsening, which she noticed as well. Or they were squeezing it too much and too many eye drops were coming out, and they were wasting the medication, and it wasn't also having the right benefit and the right effect. So she sketched out on a piece of paper, or it might have even been a napkin, just kind of a device that can squeeze one drop at a time would be ideal for folks, and it would help them to be able to squeeze it themselves, even with their dexterity issues. And so she found the innovation specialist. Innovation specialist is a person at these 36 medical centers that consist of our larger network that really leads the program locally. She found her innovation specialist in Cincinnati, told her about this idea. They applied to the Spark Seed Spread program at the Spark level, so the earliest stage of ideation. And she took last year to design this prototype with QL Plus and with engineering students from the University of Cincinnati, and came out, used that time to talk to veterans about what they needed, what they could do, what they couldn't do, what was, important. And then came out with a prototype, just a 3D printed model of a prototype. She was selected again this year, and she's creating multiple actual functional prototypes that veterans are now using to see how they like it, so that they can give feedback and she can perfect this design. There's a patent on the design, and she's ready to go. She's a legend, and it came literally from a simple idea on a napkin.
That's wonderful. How about you, Danielle? You also work in VHA-IE. You're not the director of the entire department, but you are a senior innovation fellow. In my terms, it's more like you're this bridge where you go out and make the relationships and connect industry, academia, private, public, stuff like that. You want to tell us more about your role in innovation at the VA?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I do for innovation ecosystem is maybe unique to my peers that are in similar roles. As innovation fellows, we all have a different niche, and really the goal of that position is to take an idea and scale it across the enterprise, bring value of that innovative idea beyond just the site it was created. But I'm a little bit different in that I actually work for the VA's Office of Information and Technology. I'm a product manager, and I lead a really large portfolio of SaaS and PaaS-based products that support the Veterans Health Administration. And one of the projects that I started before I was in that role was working on challenge competitions with Dallas and the Challenge America team.
Yeah.
That's really where my passion is, and probably why I'm here talking to you guys today. Dallas and I had the opportunity to go to Israel and participate in this challenge competition. I'm an Army veteran, and I got to represent Team America in this global veterans Make-A-Thon event, and it was life-changing. It took place over a 72-hour period in a really cool makerspace, and teams of disabled veterans from around the world participated and were partnered with really incredible innovators, much like yourself, Kevin, from Israel. And they developed these amazing physical prototypes that addressed a disabled veterans challenge. And at the end of 72 hours, they had this physical product that they could touch and feel and try. And in many ways was something they could take home with them. And it would give them back some autonomy or empower them a little bit more than when they started. And we were coming home on the plane, Dallas and I and some other folks, and we said, we need to do this in the United States. We have to bring this to the VA, because I was a VA employee. So I worked with the VHA's innovation ecosystem to bring that concept to VA. And we, in partnership with Challenge America, did our first veteran Make-A-Thon in Cleveland, which is where I live, the greatest city in the world.
Except for the country of Texas.
Those that know me know that I am Cleveland's biggest fan. So we did these physical events in person in Cleveland, addressing the needs of disabled veterans, and they were, again, incredible. They changed the lives of the participants, the innovators that are recruited to work, but then also the veterans that are there to be the recipients of these prototype solutions. So that was what my role as a innovation fellow was intended to do, was take that program that happened in Cleveland and scale it to other sites across the VA. But then COVID hit. So we found another way to do that. But that's kind of what my role is as a senior innovation fellow. But
I see both you and Dallas, y'all live in, well, I think we all breathe Make-A-Thons now, tell you the truth. But I went on challenge.gov the other day and I saw there were like 11 of them for COVID, and the VA did like 8 of them, and you whipped out 5 of them in like 2 weeks before anyone. You literally had like more than half the country's Make-A-Thons for like to go fight and solve COVID. And those are the smaller bets. That's why I'm trying to convince people, like the VA is more, it's very end user. It seems like, tons of sites, tons of innovation specialists all over the country. So many y'all could lose a couple hundred and not be able to count them even, but it's pretty low risk, and that's where you kind of came in, Dallas. You had been doing this a while with Danielle, and you're actually part of a nonprofit, or you're the director of a Challenge America nonprofit, and you have a bit of a mission here too. You wanna tell us more about what y'all do?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I'm happy to. Hey, before I do, I just want to make sure if there are any students out there listening to this that are UTD students, I want you to understand that you're getting a world-class education. Kevin is a great example of the products that of the students that UTD produces. If y'all don't know, let me tell you a second about Kevin. In the last year, Kevin has led teams that generated 4 amazing products, all of which have been tested by VA, a couple of which are currently going through pilot testing by VA. He stepped up in the middle of a pandemic and worked tirelessly, literally around the clock, to create these products. So you all should be incredibly proud of Kevin, and you should be assured that the education you're receiving is top notch. And just real quickly too, I just want to say a couple words about Danielle and Allison and everybody at the VA. There are 300,000 employees at the VA who have very, very difficult jobs. And during the pandemic, their jobs were maxed out because not only did the VA have to advance its primary mission, it also stepped up to help civilians, which compounded the amount of work it did. It was exhausting. So the folks on this panel are amazing individuals. And so y'all should be very excited to have this opportunity to speak with these guys. At Challenge America, the organization I work for, play a very humble role. I mean, we're just thrilled to be working alongside these guys, and it's amazing. So yeah, so our organization, just a little bit about us, you know, we're a national nonprofit, and we help veterans, and the way we try to do that is through technology and the creative arts. So we try to come up with interesting and creative ways to help veterans and try to scale those solutions to reach as many veterans across the country, shoot, across the world as we possibly can. But you know, our efforts, as mighty as we think they may be, they pale in comparison to what these three amazing folks are doing. So just want to let you all know that.
I don't know how to blush anymore, Dallas. Thank you. But no, I mean, we're just gonna sit here and I guess we're just gonna compliment each other all the time. You just won the SBA's Lab to Market competition, you know, for your response to COVID. And Allison, you run, I don't know, 50 sites, and Danielle is the best connector I know. I wouldn't be here without y'all, tell y'all the truth, and I'm the one that wants to thank y'all. But we all know each other. I kind of want to just stop what we're doing now and shift it a little bit to advice for students or entrepreneurs that are watching. Like, Danielle, what do you think is one good trait for them to have? I mean, I hear all these other conferences and people talk to them like they're this medium or small size company, but like for those individual like inventors or people that have ideas, you know, scrappy, just trying to get started, they're not a 5-person company yet. They don't have funding. Like, what do you think one of the most important traits to have for them is? Or do you have a piece of advice? This is pretty much the same question I'm going to ask all of y'all.
Yeah, I think that's a really tough position to be in, but you have to be persistent, and you have to always follow through. When you get a tip or someone gives you a connection with someone, follow up with them. And if they don't respond right away, send them another email, give them a call, be annoying, because people are busy, especially the people that can help you. They may get thousands of emails a week and read a quarter of them. Like me.
Yeah, ask them to check the government spam filters too. Those things are notorious.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You'll think the government is ignoring you, but no, it's just their spam filter will catch you all day long. Trust me.
That's true.
Even if you've exchanged 10 emails before.
That's true. That's also true. I think you have to make people listen to you. You know, say something really compelling, and ask. Be very thoughtful with what you're asking somebody for. It's one thing to share what it is that you're doing, which I think is great. But at the end of the call, leave with an action item, something that they can do for you, or a connection they can make if they aren't the right connection. But always end a call or an interaction with a specific call to action, so there's a follow-up. I think that's the best piece of advice I can give. And I'm always able to lend an ear. So if anyone has any questions or specific needs, I'm happy to try to help.
Thank you. Okay, so ask Santa for non-compete contracting. Allison, you're up. So let's see.
Same question or different question?
Well, maybe let's see. What's one important trait that you've noticed of people who are in the public sector that innovate and that actually catch your eye? Because you have so many people now that you have Greenhouse, you have so many people apply every day. Like, hey, take a look at this, because no one else does non-equity hospital testing of their products for free, and the VA doesn't want your money. You know, they literally just want you to help people. So what is one thing that you kind of notice, like a trend of, you know, in the back of your mind when you're judging who to support and not, that you like?
Yeah, so that's a great question, actually, Kevin. The greenhouse initiative that Kevin's referring to is what I mentioned earlier, where we combine the private sector, academia, really just startups, entrepreneurs, healthcare related entrepreneurs. And this is where Dallas and Danielle and Kevin and I really where it came to a preface for me and for the Innovators Network was that sitting on these panels and being a judge and a mentor for the challenges over the summer taught me that end users are really hard to find sometimes, and knowing that Innovators Network believes in end users and empathetic design so much as kind of our core foundation. The idea came that we combine the two. We offer up our end users, our clinicians and our veterans, and we offer those up to the private sector as they're designing and creating new products. And so that's how this greenhouse initiative was formed. And it's just a couple of months old. We haven't gotten that many. I don't review like 5 a day or anything, Kevin, but we have had about 70 applications since December. And we have a number of collaborations that are now taking place from these, and it's really exciting. And one common thread I see between them all are that, and these are small, most of these are very small startups. They all have a story about why they're doing what they're doing. It isn't financial. It isn't a legacy, something from their, it's not my dad's business or my mom's business. It's because they had a friend who was in a car crash and became paralyzed, and they want to help others recover. And they're building a physical therapy machine that's going to help them do that. Or they have an app for recovery for alcohol or drug use or whatever, because their brother is a recovering alcoholic, or it's something where they have some kind of personal investment, and you can feel the passion and the personalized kind of experience behind it, that empathetic experience that we're looking to make that connection with. You can feel it in the text of their emails, the application for the greenhouse. You can tell, and that is critical, that empathetic kind of feeling. And I see there was a question earlier. We can see some questions here. We can answer as well. It was about VA's biggest challenge, which I cannot remotely, I wouldn't not be the right person to ask for that. But I can say that for the innovation ecosystem, and kind of the sake of, our challenge is always trying to do everything. That is actually our challenge, is that we say yes to a lot.
You got too many projects?
We have a little too much going on sometimes. And that might be our biggest challenge right now.
Oh, I empathize. I empathize with you, Allison.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a good problem to have, right, guys? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I do think one of the largest challenges facing VA right now is suicide, and in finding ways to reduce suicide rates among veterans, but the population at large. And it was compounded by COVID with all of the social isolation. So coming out of that, I'm sure that the more recent suicide numbers are going to be quite high and alarming. It's also something that impacts the DoD as well. So I think that's a big one on my mind. But Allison's right. There's a lot.
And I always wonder about that.
I'm not comfortable giving that. That's a big answer.
Because a lot of times funding gets given by things that can be quantified, and things like suicide are hard to put hard financial numbers to, It's like, how do we calculate 1 or like 5% of a life or something like that? It really doesn't work, and it gets contracting, I think, would become hard. But yeah, I worry about that a lot too, the fallout. And but anyways, Dallas, you seem to always, I want to say, I've never met anyone that can just keep people on track and have words of wisdom and encouragement, or you just feel like Mr. Rogers gave you advice or something like that? And if do you have one piece of advice for everyone before we get into some of the Q&A session right here? I guess in a few seconds. You know, you you seem to always talk with mission and purpose, and what do veterans, even if they don't become successful because monetarily, but they're doing it for the right passion reasons, like they gain stuff as a person, right? So what else do they get besides bigger number in their, or lower number in their Chase bank account?
Yeah, so I think, look, the audience is made up of people primarily, right, who, our audience anyway, who are innovators, I think. And so I think the best advice I can give folks is to listen. And when we do our maker events and we talk to the veterans afterward, and Danielle can certainly echo this, one of the things they all say without exception is that they love the experience for a variety of reasons, but one of the things they love most is that they sat down and they talked, and a group of professionals listened to them and took what they said to heart, and then came back and asked deep probing questions, and then listened to the answers, and then used that as the basis for developing the solution that they were working on to solve that veteran's challenge. I think, if you have an open mind and you listen and you ask questions, you will go far, and you will have a deep impact on the life of the person you're trying to affect. There's a great book, and I'm sure everybody in the audience has read it, right? It's called The Lean Startup. And they've got this great concept in the Lean Startup, and it's called validated learning. And it's a fancy word for listening and asking questions, really, or fancy term. It's, you constantly go out and you talk to your end users again and again and again and again, and you listen to what they're telling you, and you take your cues from them. You don't walk into a challenge and with a set of preconceived notions and then develop your product based on that. You may have the best of intentions in doing so, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to go the wrong direction. So I think listen, that's the best piece of advice I can offer.
Can you say that one more time? The last sentence, Dallas? You cut out.
Listen.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
Wow, that was an ironic word to miss. Well, I think it's about time for some Q&As. I see one question. What opportunities are available for students to learn about work with the VHA innovation ecosystem at their campus? Do you see future partnerships or competitions being made for students? Allison, what do you think the future is on student competitions? I know y'all had a MIT one last year, do y'all have any so far this year, maybe, or what do you?
So I think that we will, I think we look for opportunities around every corner, really. They're kind of available, I would say, in a couple of reasons, or a couple of ways, I should say. For example, the Greenhouse Initiative, you can be a student, you can be a entrepreneur that has a product developing a new one. It can be whatever. So the greenhouse is always an opportunity. We also still work a lot on challenges, hackathons, make-a-thons through our community engagement portfolio. And so those opportunities are out there more haphazardly. I can't think of, we just wrapped one up with Georgia Tech, so I can't think of the next one off the top of my head, but our website will always talk about events and things that are coming up. We are hosting we're just kind of sketching it out now, but a pitching event for We're not exactly sure yet. I won't lie. It's
Okay.
literally, I
It's okay not
spent
to
most
know.
of my day under development. It's one of those things that gets tossed that's like, hey, Allison, let's do this. And I'll be like, okay, because I have nothing else to do. And so now I have to host an event. So that's going to be great, but more is going to come out about it in the summer. And so again, the website would be the place to look for it, but it's going to be open to all entrepreneurs that are, wanting to collaborate on a problem that needs to be solved. So
Yeah,
those are the ways I can think of. Just kind of check out our social, check out the Ecosystems website. And if you all don't have that information, we can surely get it for you and share it. But that's how I would say keep tabs of it.
Yeah, I love it. I may get this stat wrong, but I think the VA is like half the size of the entire DoD, let's say roughly, with around 100 billion. But literally, for being like a quarter of the national budget, and its mission is so clear. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, where you come from. It's like, do you have an idea, and is it good for veterans? Like, does it help them with their lives? Okay, like, let's give it a shot and see if it helps, and I think that's beautiful how y'all let everyone do it. Y'all don't, and I thank you for all the hard work you do every day. This is new. Like, I go out all the time now trying to find funding, and traditionally the VA was a closed ecosystem. Like, it is the hardest thing to get funding for. Oh, it's DoD. Okay, here's money, But like VA, oh my, it scares people. Like, the timelines are so longer, it's hard. But you have really started opening it up, and no one's ever seen this before. And I thank you for reaching out and starting down that path. We got another question, it looks like, on the screen. How can the VHA, i.e., incorporate the outstanding talents of UT Dallas capstone students teams in solving these challenges? Okay, so yeah, that comes from one of the directors at UTD, corporate relations partnerships. So capstone is UT Dallas's senior design projects. They put together 4 to 6 multidisciplinary, or they pick the engineers, and it's a 2-semester project they have to do to graduate, right? And
I did one too. It wasn't engineering, but I did one too.
But that's what they mean by capstone. It's corporations sponsor student teams of groups of like 4 to 6, and their graduation depends on doing good.
Maybe Dallas has something that he can offer with this one. I know that I'd be happy to have a chat with folks about what their projects are about or what they're looking for.
You get to choose the projects, like a problem you would like solved. So
the problem I would like to solve.
Yeah. So say you have.
Okay, well, I can definitely talk to you then.
So say you got innovation.
Dallas might have something. Might have opportunities too. I don't know.
I will take that as a yes. But say you got a nurse, an innovation specialist. They got an idea, but they're not engineers. They don't know how to prototype it, right? So you go, hey, UTD, here's like, I don't know, 5K. Can you stick 5 cheap students on it for an entire year for like, I think that students come out to like 1K per person a year. It's not bad. Like,
that is cheap.
You like
worth more, but
well, not till you get that paper. Stay in school, kids.
So Dallas and I, when we were brainstorming the best model for our Make-A-Thon events, we really looked for teams just like that would want to come in and solve some of these challenges and kick it off during the Make-A-Thon event, right? So they would learn what the problem is, work with the end user, and that would kick off the start of their project. But the dates never seem to align. But I think that the challenge competition model is really ideal to put at the front end of that capstone project. And I think collectively, all of us would be very interested in talking through your timelines and dates and how we might be able to incorporate one or more of your teams into the next challenge competition.
Well, Dawn's asking because fall's coming up. So I'll just give you the dates.
Dawn, hit
Before
me up.
fall
I'm happy
semester.
to help.
Right, Dawn?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would love to
The same
do
works with us, and Spark Seed Spread kicks off soon too. So works for fall. We're good with fall dates.
Yeah.
I would love to do a maker challenge at UTD. I think that would be amazing, and to solve challenges facing veterans in your community. And if it helps at all, we in our last maker challenge, we did have, there's a capstone team out of Cleveland State University. They have an amazing engineering program as well, and we incorporated one of their teams in our project, and it's a year-long project for them. At the end, they ended up, generating a really viable product to solve that veterans challenge. So we have experience doing that with universities. We love working with universities. I'm a recovering professor myself, so I feel comfortable in that space. So yeah, we'd love to work with anyone down at UTD on that. So please reach out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know that I've always had this idea, like, government's great, but it really takes Americans and people helping themselves. Like, we had this pandemic, and well, the US can't produce that's how I met y'all, can't produce all the PPE for the entire country overnight by itself. Like, it literally would take everyone in their houses, like, making stuff for themselves to pick up the slack, right? And that's what I love about some of these solutions. It's really the veterans' own community solving problems for themselves to make their own lives better. And government's helping facilitate, maybe organize, fund, direct, lead, connect, but not doing it all for just handing it out. Like, you work for it, and society can repay you as an entrepreneur by making your Chase account larger. It will come. It shouldn't be your main reason on doing something. It should be passionful, and that's your main indicator. And that's just a side effect, like a nicety to have. Like, society will repay you if you make each other's lives better. So I really love what y'all are doing. And I'll give you all Dawn already reached out. But do we have any more questions right now? Let's see. Okay. How do you recommend founders find teammates to work with? Let's see. Anyone?
Well, we can help, when we do our maker challenges, we help to facilitate that. So sometimes folks come to us as a preformed team, right? In other cases, folks drift in as individuals and kind of explore the different projects we're working on and try to find one that's a fit. And then we match them up with those projects. We have a system for doing that, actually. And try to pair them up with other individuals who bring different skill sets to the table. So you could have a seamstress working alongside a software programmer, working alongside a mechanical engineer, working alongside a carpenter. All these folks bring different skill sets that help to contribute to the solution they're working on. So we help build those teams as part of our process. So
likewise, yeah. I have a piece of advice on that. Like, I always you shouldn't have 8 screwdrivers in a toolbox, not 8 Phillips heads. Mm-hmm. I think that's a ASVAB question. But you should have a variety of different people with different skill sets so that you all think of things from different angles, right? You're trying to innovate, find new solutions, and having a bunch of people that think the same way is not always the best. And so that's my one piece of advice there. Let's see. I guess it's I did a little bit of researching and some quick Googling because I wanted to find a fun fact last night, and I just realized how much the US spends on innovation a year. It's like over $600 billion goes to R&D. And I did some quick math, and if that's like 5 work days a week, 50 weeks a year, you get 2 weeks off. That's 250 days a year, 9 to 5. That's $300 million a day that Uncle Sam is putting out there for innovative solutions. And look at all the government department agencies that came out today, and they're going to your front doors. They're literally beating on your doors. Dresden is giving out free hoodies and t-shirts to come out, like, to listen to the government say, please give us ideas. We'll help grow and scale your company to solve national problems of social good. And that literally works out to Uncle Sam funding $1 for every person in America per work hour. So the money is out there, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are crying like, oh, there's no money for this or that. No, there's a lot of money. You just aren't annoying enough to beat down enough doors, because just keep at it. So that's kind of my one piece of advice. Like, entrepreneurship, I'm not gonna lie, it's like really hard, scary, tiresome, it's uncertain, it's just a black hole. You can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel, until you're
really selling it, Kevin.
Yeah. No, but I mean, but it's there. You just got to trust it's there, and everyone knows it. All the numbers and people will tell you that. So my biggest advice is, but it's long. It's government cycles. It's year. It could be a year long. So, my biggest advice is be patient, right? It's not going to happen quickly overnight. And that's where I think veterans have a leg up on any other type of entrepreneurs. That they understand hurry up and wait, and the government, like, the regular public doesn't. They're not used to that. So being government funded in innovation as a startup and ecosystem, you should be able to withstand a year-long funding cycle and just sit there while the times line up correctly, patiently, and just have faith that it's there, and keep working diligently every day, even though you may not know exactly where you're going, So I think that's our time for today. I really want to thank all you three guys. I wouldn't be here without y'all, and I hope y'all all come visit someday. We'll throw a parade,
All right.
Yeah. And
throwing parades, I'm in.
And I'll talk to y'all probably later today. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye, guys.